don't even have it because oh they probably got it or she doing this, she doing that. They're probably not even doing it because if I was to talk about somebody, I might have it because I'm talking about them and being at the point that you pointing at people saying they got this, but it can turn back on you. You know what I'm saying? But personally, if it was to come to the school, I think it would be a good idea because of the fact that a lot of kids don't know if they have it or not, and they're like, if I go to Planned Parenthood, they probably know my face or something. They could just go to the nurse. You know what I mean?
Anybody else?
Yo. What's from Judo? I don't think they should have STD. I don't think I should have STD testing in school because honestly, if they did, and I found out somebody had AIDS, then I'm being honest. If I find out somebody got AIDS, I'm going to clown. That's why I think they shouldn't have it because if somebody had herpes or something and somebody say something bad about the person, that's why you got herpes. And then next thing you know, they're gonna be wanting to fight, and then collar fight gonna happen, you know. I just keep it real.
Excuse me, can I just touch on a point that Will made with regards to STD testing and things of that nature? All that stuff is confidential. Because of the HIPAA laws and everything nowadays, people aren't allowed to take your health information and just go about really freely and give out your information like that. So I just want all the kids to know out in the audience that if you do find yourself in the need to be tested, it is confidential, okay?
I appreciate what you just said about confidentiality. I was going to mention that. I think that anything that you can do that makes it more accessible for more people is a good thing. Planned Parenthood is very beneficial for some people, but frankly, there are people in our community who would not use Planned Parenthood because they espouse things like abortion that some of us just absolutely don't believe in. If there are other alternatives, other places where you can get testing and referral for treatment, it's all that much better. I think a clinic in the school would be a great idea.
Well, Salome, I personally think that it would be good to have STI tested in school because a lot of us out here don't have parents to go home to talk to say, can you take me, or have somebody as a backbone to encourage them or be with them to go get tested. So if you have it in school, it's like somewhere you can go and, you know, nobody would know that you're going there for that. You can go to the nurse for anything. So I think it would be a good idea to have it in schools because it would help, you know, some children come, you know, open up to some people. Like I said, a lot of people can't go home to their parents and say, Ma, you know, Dad, I think this or whatever. A lot of us don't have parents at all. So I think it would be a good thing to have it in school.
Okay. Now, when it comes to like teenage pregnancy, did any of you think that like youth employment affects those rates of teenage pregnancy?
Can you rephrase the question?
Oh, okay. Do you feel that the employment rate for you, as far as like not having many jobs around and stuff like that, do you think that that may affect high teenage pregnancy rates? Unemployment for you?
I think it does because I think teenagers tend to get pretty bored. And for example, when we had that would be funny. But keeping it real. We are, but I'm just confused. But anyway, for example, when we had auditions for the SARS program, we had 11 people who auditioned, and we were only able to pick 6. So I think employment does have a factor in it because teenagers do want jobs, and maybe they're turning to other outlets to keep themselves busy, maybe. So.
Real busy.
What's the saying go? Idle mind is the devil's playground.
Yeah.
Anybody else feel that unemployment for youth, not having much to do, affects high teenage pregnancy rates?
I think it can go both ways. I think there's some teens out there that's very independent that would like to work, that can't work because they're too young, but it's also teens out there that don't want to do nothing with themselves. So it's not just about not being able to have jobs. They have other things that they can do, but they choose to do what they do by getting in trouble or being in gangs or having sex. They make that decision because it's programs out there, you know, just like y'all program, where they can come to the club, where they can go to the Y, they can play basketball, but they choose not to do those things. So it's not, you know, it's not just not having jobs. It's about them making smart decisions for themselves.
Now, Dolores, I heard you mention quite a few times about the importance of having more options than just saying, don't do it. Do you think that by not having those options and somebody telling you no, that a lot of times youth just be like, yes, I can, and just do it?
That's exactly what I think.
Okay.
Actually, it's like, just like when you're a little kid, you're like 3, your mom says, don't touch the stove, it's hot. You're gonna touch the stove, and then you're gonna realize it's hot. But by the time you realize that, you're already burned. You know what I mean? So like, if you don't give kids options, they're gonna do what they wanna do. Because that's how, well, for me, I'm not saying I do what I wanna do, but it makes me feel independent, like as a teenager. Like, if somebody says I can't do something, I'm gonna do it to prove them wrong, because that gives me a sense of independence. I'm not saying the wrong thing. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying in general, like if someone says, oh, you're not gonna make the cheerleading squad, I'm gonna go try out. Just because they said not to do it. So a lot of people like to prove themselves by doing what people tell them not to do.
Could I expand on that a little bit? As parents, I want you guys to think back to when you were a child. And we know that it's a natural state between the ages of 12, between the ages of 13 and 17, that children are rebellious. And what she's talking about is simply that if you tell me I can't do something, because I'm in that rebellious stage, I'm going to do it anyway. Am I wrong? So I think that as parents, we have to think back to the things that we did as children. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes when we become adults, we tend to forget the scams we ran on our parents. The things we did just being rebellious. She tells us we can't do something, we're going to do it. That's just what teenagers do because they're at that age.
Got another question. Okay. How do you provide them with options that you're willing to live with?
What was that, son?
How can you provide them with options that you're willing to live with? Instead of just telling them, you know, like, instead of taking the approach of just saying, no, don't do it. What is a way where you can provide them with options? And either the options that they choose or whatever, you can still live with that. How can you do that?
I think this is where your parenting skills have to come in at, because what happens is that you have to, with children, you have to let them make a decision that you try to guide them towards making the right decisions, but ultimately it's their decisions. I'm going to tell you that if you do this, these are the consequences, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you choose to do this, these are the potential outcomes, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. The choice is yours.
Anybody have a question? All right.
Okay, I'm actually going to ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever heard of if you keep your kid in the house, when they get out, they gonna end up going wild?
You talking about the pastor kids?
Everybody heard of that, right?
So why are you asking that? Let me ask you, why are you asking that?
Most likely, there's a 50-50 chance that kid might go wild doing mostly everything that, most likely they say girls might do something they have no business doing. Do you think that's